Hi, it's Bill Coletti. Are you an agency owner or founder that feels stuck, that feels like the systems and the way you run things is not replicable and you're chasing solution after solution to problem after problem, and some of those problems actually involve the people in your organization? You know something has to change. If that's you, this video's for you. I want to outline the 3 most common problems that I see from agency owners that want to transition from owner-founders to actually becoming CEOs. So let's go ahead and have that conversation and talk about those 3 most common things that I see. So the first thing I see is this notion of sloppy systems, or that you don't have process. So sloppy systems or no process. What that means is that you don't have the ability to create a way of doing work that is replicable, that your team can count on, that you can count on, because you've been moving so fast to grow and scale your firm, you haven't really built the foundation that's necessary to elevate. And that's okay, because that next step of becoming a CEO is all about improving and changing your sloppy systems. The next thing that you should be thinking about is that you have too many priorities. Too many priorities. And you have the need to prioritize. Or, worst of all, you might have an undefined direction, meaning maybe you have mission and values, maybe you've got a clear articulation, but you've got too many competing priorities, things you need to try, things you need to buy, and things you need to fix in order to bring about change. But those too many priorities create conflict inside of you and create conflict inside your organization, because you don't have that defined direction that you want to head in. So we go from sloppy systems to too many priorities. And then the last one is this notion of people equal problems. If you want to grow and scale, you need more people to do the work. You need more people to sell your service, or you need more people to solve some of the unique challenges that are created by growing your business. But we all know that people create challenges and create problems. So your ability to fix that is the third and most important point, and the greatest challenge that you have from transitioning from owner-founder into a CEO. But it doesn't have to be that way. There are simple solutions that I've found, that I discovered myself as I made this transition from an owner to a CEO for my firm, and for the number of other clients that I've worked with. And I want to share with you what I think of those solutions, and then give you 7 practical steps that I think are really critical that every leader needs to undertake. So where do we go from here? So where we go from here is that if you've got sloppy systems, what you really need to have in place is something more akin to structure to scale. And so with structure to scale is that you have systems and procedures and the way of doing things that work for you, that your team can count on, and that are wash, rinse, and repeat, therefore creating less of the opportunity that you have to dip in and solve things each time. I had a saying in my firm is that if I've said something more than 2 times, I need to document it, write it down, or have somebody on my team document that and write it down, because it becomes a system and a procedure and needs to go into our playbook. So if you've got sloppy systems, what you need is structure to scale. And if you've got too many priorities and you've got an undefined direction, the thing that you need most is that you need prioritization clarity. And with that prioritization clarity, you've got all these choices of trying and buying and fixing. The most important thing I believe around your prioritization is the prioritization of you. It is not something you're going to try. It is not something you're going to buy, and not something you're going to fix that will immediately make you transition from that founder to CEO. It's my belief it's by prioritizing on you, but more importantly, after prioritizing you, is to actually prioritize the things that matter most to grow and scale your organization. And then the last thing, people equal problems. The solution there is full team alignment. Just like you align the four tires of a car so that it all goes in the direction and operates smoothly, so that you've got everybody rowing in the exact same direction. If people equal problems, the challenge there and the solution is having full team alignment so everybody's going in the right direction. So if this looks like you, where you've found yourself as an agency founder or you're the owner now, and that you've got sloppy systems or no systems, you've got too many priorities, and you know that people are your problems, there's a solution. It's systems that scale. It's prioritization clarity, specifically prioritization of yourself, and then full team alignment begins the journey to do that. But there's specific things that I can share with you that are actually very effective tools that I use with my clients and tools I still use myself today in order to bring about the change that really will make it sort of lasting impact on that transition from founder-owner into CEO. So let's talk about those for a second. So we'll start with prioritization clarity. The best way that I've found to have crystal clear prioritization is to start by designing your ideal week. What does the perfect week look like for you at your work? What are the things that you need to focus on? And we'll determine what those things should be a little bit later. But what are the things that you're uniquely capable of focusing on that drive your business forward and that set the vision for your organization? You need to identify your ideal week. That ideal week then fits into 90-day goals. Most organizations run on some sort of quarterly system. There's a 6-week sprint. I like 90 days. Is by articulating 90-day goals, both for yourself personally as well as your organization, everybody can then see what we're prioritizing and what are the things that we have. Therefore, we now have prioritization clarity. Next, I want to talk about team alignment. I mentioned earlier, you really need to build your ideal week around the things that you're the best at. What I call that is your zone of genius. And understanding your zone of genius, it's a tool. We work through it together. It's 4 cells on a 2x2 of things that you are not competent at, things you're competent at, things you're excellent at, and then things that are truly your zone of genius. By identifying and understanding those things that fit into that 2x2 of your true genius, that's where your ideal week becomes to come into shape, your 90-day goals become more clear, and you begin to have full team alignment because you're focused on the things that you're uniquely qualified at. The next thing that's critically important is that you choose the right tools. I'm fond of a tool called an impact filter. To me, it's the simplest, clearest way to communicate your vision and plans to your team, either one-on-one or as a group, so that they understand. It is a filter to determine the true impact of any decision. If you're a lot like me, we suffer from sort of shiny squirrel syndrome of where we're chasing different priorities and chasing different focal points during the course of our week or our 90-day cycles. But by having the right tools in place, in particular an impact filter is one of many, it lets you articulate the best possible outcome, exactly the 5 to 10 things that you want to see, and the key criteria for success for any given initiative, project, or thing that you need to be working on within your organization. And then lastly, systems that scale. I've got 3 things that I think are critically important here. One is you got to pick an operating system. I'm writing on my iPad. I use an iPhone. They both operate under, as well as my laptop, with an operating system. Every time I turn them on, there are a series of procedures that happen, and that operating system underlies all of the activities that go on. I'm a fan of Gino Wickman's work in an organization called Traction. There are many of other operating systems that I'm familiar with. You need to have one and pick one. The challenge is not simply the picking. The challenge is the discipline to stick with it and let your organization know this is exactly what we're going to be doing. Number 2 is you have to find You have to find your who's. Who can actually get these things done for you? It's a hiring process. It's a leadership process. It's 3 key questions that I've found that we ask everybody in our organization and the organizations that we work with to find out not how things get done, your 90-day goals, your priorities, but who is going to get them done. So you need to change your mindset as you transition from founder to CEO, is not thinking about how, but thinking about who. Number 3, and we've all heard about this one before, is this notion of niche. I do X for Y. Critically important. I often run into firms that have found great success at the outset by saying they're full service, but then they sort of plateau because there's no market differentiation. Where you're going to go as you transition and really focus and have discipline as a CEO is to really focus on niche. And that's that I do X for Y. I make pizzas for New York City cab drivers. That allows you to have a really crystal clear point of view that differentiates your firm in the market. You put all of these things together, and that's where you need to transition from owner to CEO. Get rid of your sloppy systems, focus on the right priorities, have full team alignment, and use some of these tools in order to get there. If you know you need to level up your leadership and elevate your leadership and become the CEO that your organization deserves, and these tools are helpful to you, drop me a note. I'd love to have a conversation with you, share with you some of these resources, and get you started on that journey. If you want more help, I love working with entrepreneurs and owners of creative agencies, specifically PR firms, that want to elevate their leadership and to become the CEO that their firm deserves. Also reach out and have a conversation. With that, thanks so much. I look forward to talking to you.